August 12th, 2025. A postulation by Somonai Breathhart about the nature of material reality as a simulation of the real material reality of the living universe. In this postulation, I will be introducing a new term. To most people, it will be a new term. It's a term from Fifth Epochal Revelation called ultimata. Ultimata is the Fifth Epochal Revelation term for what quantum physics or quantum physicists call the quantum field. Ultimata is derived, the word ultimata is derived from the word ultimaton, and an ultimaton is what a quantum physicist might call the God particle, or perhaps even a quark or some other subatomic, subelectronic particle. Ultimatons are the building blocks of material reality, of atoms and electrons. They are spherical. They are able to change size, or they are of different sizes. Thus, they, when packed together, create different densities of matter. In ultimata, the ultimata, everything that has ever happened is remembered. Every single pulse of every electron that has ever existed, every pulse that has ever occurred in time and space is stored in memory, in the memory of ultimata, of the quantum field. Numerous people are today speaking about this material reality, which can be heard, can be seen, can be smelled, can be tasted, can be touched, which registers in the sense systems of the material, organic, living body. That this material reality is a simulation is a synthetic manifestation. That it is based on an original design template of the real creator. Long ago, mystics wrote about archons, wrote about a demiurge, demi, partial, partial urge, a partial creation, perhaps, a demi-creator, a sub-creator of the creator. This equates with Lucifa Lanonandek, Lucifer, as the name has been pronounced in English. Lucifer, as the name has been pronounced in Latin. Lucifer, or perhaps it is Lucifer. A few years ago, or several years ago, a man called Robert Monroe wrote about loosh, wrote about energy harvesting, and he called such energy that is harvested loosh. Well, perhaps he called it loosh after Lucifer. Well, so let's call this Lucifa Lanonandek false reality. That which we are sensing with our five senses. Others have written about parallel universes or parallel realities, parallel material lives that they have witnessed themselves leading. These people have moved from one world to another world and found themselves still themselves in the other world, and found themselves perhaps still in the company of someone who has died in the world that they've just come from, who is still alive in this other world. This ties in with this postulation, this simulation postulation or hypothesis. Some say that humans have existed on this earth for quite a few million years. Richard Sharp Shaver wrote back in the late 1940s, 1947, that the first human beings came to this planet 18 million years ago, when dinosaurs were still very much the dominant macro species of this earth. Fifth Epochal Revelation teaches that the human being, or the human Homo sapiens, appeared on this earth from primordial creature, from a primordial creature, a pre-human, only 1 million years ago. Anastasia of Siberia, of the tiger, in the Ringing Cedars of Russia series of books, in the very first book, she begins talking about outpacing or being quicker in thought than some minds that are in opposition to the Creator. And that because of her speed, she was able to introduce a new blueprint for the development of material reality on this earth, or of this earth, the material reality of this earth. This again sounds very much like she was able to be quicker in thought than the quantum computer, which is behind the manufacture and maintenance of a simulated reality. But there are more than one simulated reality, as I have already mentioned. But there must be perhaps one primordial simulated reality. One primordial simulated reality upon which all other simulated realities are facsimiles of, which are the same with small alterations. Thus, there are numerous simulated worlds in existence simultaneously, all following along under the same base time scale of the original simulation formed by Lucifa Lanonandek. Fifth Epochal Revelation says that Lucifa Lanonandek assumed the status of a god, creator god, or a demiurge only 200,000 Earth years ago. So, how can the difference of 18 million years ago with 200,000 years ago be reconciled? Well, before I said that Ultimata has memory, I therefore propose that Lucifer made the very first simulation based on the real Earth that was happening 18 or maybe more million years ago, perhaps 50 million years ago, perhaps 70 million years ago. That's when he set his beginning from. So, for millions of years, a simulated version of dinosaurs and all other creatures began functioning as an artificial reality based on what the Creator designed. Enter into this timeline human beings 18 million years ago, and we have the reality that Richard Shaver and that Anastasia have discussed and talked about, because Anastasia has also said in one of, which was not recorded in the first book, and I forget which book it is recorded in, but she also spoke about numerous technocratic civilizations that have risen and fallen on this earth. Now, it is interesting that all of these civilizations, or always this push, this development has been along technocratic development, the development of technology technology such as telephones, technology such as aeroplanes, technology such as spaceships. All manners of technology which are indeed simulations of the technology which exists in the human body, which exists for a human being in the real universe. So in the real universe, human beings do not build spaceships. There's no reason to. We can travel by teleportation to wherever we want to go. We can teleport whatever we want to teleport through the power of mind. Anastasia has spoken about this. So that a technocratic society is a completely irrational, non-intelligent development. This points to Lucifer, the Demiurge, as the mastermind behind all of these space-age civilizations flying around in spaceships which have existed for millions of years and which has existed on this planet for millions of years. Tunnels and cryptid beings, all sorts of strange creatures are today being talked about by various different people. Richard Shaver was perhaps the first to write about it all back in 1947. Here is a question that came to my mind. How can it be that if the devil created a world, an organic world, that it has still been provided with mind and with the intelligence of life? My conjecture is that the absolute creator, the absolute trinity of creators, to be more precise, the first, the second, and the third source and centre, which are spoken about in Fifth Epochal Revelation as the Universal Father, the Universal Mother or Eternal Son, and the Conjoint Actor or Infinite Spirit. So my thought is that the Universal Father, the first source and centre, who it is said in Fifth Epochal Revelation bestows personality throughout all of the universes of living creatures and creators. My thought is that personality has been bestowed upon the simulated organisms, human organisms, that the artificial intelligence, the quantum computer system of Lucifer has manifested. So you and me and all of these animals here, we are in artificially manifested bodies. And that the Universal Father decided to inhabit these bodies nonetheless. And why? Well, I guess you could say that no one worth their salt ever shies away from a challenge, especially a challenge issued by somebody who is saying that you don't exist, which is what Lucifer said about the Universal Father. In the mind of man, this is a big topic. This is a crucial topic, the mind of man. Even though man here in this simulation is not an original creature, but a simulated creature, nevertheless, the mind which has been bestowed upon this simulated organism is real, has been bestowed by the infinite spirit, the conjoint actor, the third source and centre. And this mind has also been hijacked by the quantum computing artificial intelligence system of Lucifa Lanonandek. Thus, there is a false consciousness and a real consciousness available to the personality of each individual human organism. And I'm not going to get into animals and plants here. That's another topic. Just going to confine this to us creatures who have the ability to co-create with the real creator, who have the ability to qualify themselves as ascendant sons or beloved ones of the universe parents, the real creator and the real creative spirit, the real universe father and the real universe mother. And now I'm speaking not about the absolute universal father and the absolute universal mother, but about demigods. In our particular situation, where this simulation is occurring, in the universe of Nebadon. And the father of Nebadon, I refer to as the universe father or Michael. And the universe mother may be referred to as Nebadonia, if you like. That is what she is called by some people who study the Fifth Epochal Revelation. But I will just refer to them both as Papa and Mama, often in my own personal prayers, or as Father and Mother, because the original blueprint of man is a design of this local universe father, Michael. And there are many local universes. We're in one. This whole system of worlds that Lucifer has created a simulation of is a part of the universe of Nebadon. In Fifth Epochal Revelation, it says that this world that we live on is called, its real name is Urantia. Urantia. And that it is called this several billion years ago, when it was first registered as a new sphere, material sphere within the universe of Nebadon. Back to mind. Real mind and false mind. The genuine mind of a human being and the artificial mind of an android. It can be observed by someone who is qualifying as a son of God, who is qualifying through personality decision-making processes and personality maintenance processes. It can be known and is known that the vast majority of humans on this earth at this time are not operating in their real mind, are not operating with real intelligence, are not functioning as real human beings. That which is going on in the brain is not genuine intelligence. It's a program, a computer program. The same computer program, I am postulating, that is running the artificial material reality, the simulation, which has been backdated millions of years and has been running for millions of years through the indigenous or real created timeline of ultimata of the quantum field. Yes. Some people talk about non-playing characters, humans that are non-playing characters, humans that are not making decisions for themselves, humans that are not really living as human beings. Dolores Cannon, famous hypnotherapist, came across this term or this concept as a result of her work. I think one day someone that she was treating with hypnotherapy began talking about humans that are not really living as humans, and that's where the phrase was coined from, non-playing characters. I would put to you that there are very few actual human beings or humans who are being truly human, or at least qualifying themselves as human beings at this point in time. The whole world and almost everybody that is in it is just operating on the level of impulse and action based on the impulse. But the impulse is something which is happening only in a very small part of their brain. It's happening in the imagination center of the mind and the thinking center of the mind as well. Imagination and thinking, those two parts of the brain have been hijacked or are being utilised, perhaps have even been specifically designed somewhat to receive these electromagnetic impulses through quantum computer systems, or through a quantum computer system, one, if you like, which might contain many quantum computers, one system with many computers. It could be said, in fact, that each human brain is a computer in itself. Or it could be said that each archon is a quantum computer, that these are invisible to our eyes, unheard by our ears, etc. Parallel worlds again. Let's go back to parallel worlds. Numerous simulations, all happening simultaneously at slightly different densities of ultimata, so that they do not interfere with each other. It seems that it must be the case that one personality is associated with multiple bodies, multiple simulations, but all within the same time, the same timeline, the same artificially created timeline that's been going on for millions of years, because it was backdated from 200,000 years ago, backdated millions of years. A parallel reality. So it's not that each personality, each eternal will spirit, it's not that there are multiple spirits for multiple bodies. There is one spirit in charge of multiple bodies. And I would say that there is one mind with each spirit. Each spirit only has one mind, and that this one mind is also in charge of multiple bodies, multiple brains. But each brain is a separate computer, an organic computer. Each brain is a separate organic computer. And each separate organic computer is receiving different instructions, a different Wi-Fi signal, a different input, different data stream. Because this is not real mind that is operating, but android mind operating as a quantum interface, these brains, these simulated brains, which are designed to receive this data input, but which are also able to receive the spirit, the input from the spirit, the infinite spirit, the infinite source of intelligence, real intelligence. These brains, each one of these brains is able to receive both real intelligence and simulated intelligence. And thus, based on the actions of the body, and the actions of the body are based on the simulated intelligence or the program, the direction, the data input. And thus, the various parallel worlds or universes, as some people call them, they're not universes though, parallel worlds, parallel simulations, each is going to be different, slightly different, because the data input is slightly different to each one of them. So what happens when a personality makes a real decision based on real infinite source data? What happens? The mind, the one mind, which is associated with these numerous brains, that one mind puts out a signal which also influences that brain and that physical body, not only in one simulation, but in all of the simulations at the same time. It cannot be anything other than that. One personality, one mind operating numerous bodies. There is a woman called, I'll move on to another topic now. Let's call this the end of the simulation, or the end of the Lucifer rebellion. The end of millions of years of artificial reality. So there is a person, a woman actually, called Kimberly Goguen, who can be looked up on YouTube under the heading of United Network News. And she is speaking about the ending of all of the simulations. She is talking about, therefore, the removal of the artificial intelligence which is running these simulations. And she has spoken a great deal about the closing down of numerous quantum computers running the artificial intelligence network. I don't have much to say about this at all, except only this little thing, that without the simulations happening, perhaps the simulated bodies will all disappear. And without the simulated bodies, all of the Earths will disappear. They will just vanish off the universal radar. They will cease to exist at all. As for all of us personalities who have been involved in the simulation, I suppose that each one of us who is a qualifying son of the universal creator, Michael, that each one of us who is a qualifying son, who has been making qualified, intelligent choices and performing qualified, intelligent actions, will be given a new simulated body in the blink of an eye by the Universal Father himself. As to what the new Earth, as to what the real unsimulated Earth really looks like at this point in time, I can imagine, or I do imagine, that one thing that will be absent from it is parasites and technologies which are to our detriment, which have been manufactured through artificial intelligence. So everything that's been manufactured through artificial intelligence explicitly for the production of loosh, which is life energy to be taken up by beings who have no more connection with life energy, infinite life supply. That's loosh. So nothing which has produced loosh will exist in the new earth, in the new epoch, in the post-rebellion era.